In America, thousands of good people wake up every day facing a harsh reality: the sudden loss of their job. This unexpected blow often sparks a domino effect: debts pile up, savings vanish, and the threat of bankruptcy looms closer. But what if this crisis could be stopped before it spirals out of control? This series dives into real stories and proven strategies to help anyone weather financial storms, regain stability, and protect their dignity. Are you ready to uncover how to break the cycle? The warning signs often come quietly, almost unnoticed, until the financial strain becomes impossible to ignore. Take Emily Johnson, a 38-year-old single mother living in Ohio, who had a steady job as an administrative assistant for over a decade. When her company downsized during a sudden economic downturn, Emily lost her job without warning. At first, she believed unemployment benefits and her modest savings would hold her over. But within weeks, overdue bills started stacking up, and the pressure mounted. Her car needed repairs, her credit card balances grew, and the rent deadline loomed closer. The moment she missed that first payment, a floodgate of financial problems opened. Emily's story reflects a common pattern across the United States. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, over 3 million workers lose their jobs each month, and many face similar cascades of hardship. A 2023 study by the Federal Reserve found that 60% of Americans could not cover a $1,000 emergency without borrowing or selling something. This alarming statistic underlines how fragile financial stability really is. For many, unemployment isn't just the loss of income, it's the trigger for a spiral that leads to mounting debt, damaged credit scores, and, eventually, bankruptcy. The root causes are multifaceted. Beyond the immediate income loss, joblessness often coincides with loss of health insurance, unexpected medical bills, and reduced access to affordable credit. Psychological stress can impair decision-making, causing people to delay bills or take high-interest loans out of desperation. The domino effect accelerates quickly, especially when debts are unpaid and creditors start demanding payment aggressively. At this point, many families face eviction notices or vehicle repossessions, deepening the crisis. However, there are ways to recognize the early warning signs and act before the spiral worsens. Financial advisors emphasize the importance of creating an emergency fund, no matter how small, to cushion income shocks. Building strong communication lines with creditors can sometimes open doors to negotiated payment plans or temporary relief. Additionally, tapping into community resources such as food banks, unemployment counseling, or job placement programs can provide crucial support during these dark times. Emily's turning point came when she connected with a local nonprofit offering free financial coaching. Together, they prioritized her debts, negotiated lower payments with creditors, and mapped out a strict but manageable budget. She also took online courses to upskill and applied for jobs in a growing sector. Though the road was tough and required sacrifices, Emily began to see a path out of her crisis. Her story is a powerful example of how understanding the warning signs and seeking help early can change the trajectory of financial collapse into one of recovery and hope. When it comes to financial collapse, experts consistently point to a handful of key causes that explain why so many people end up overwhelmed and bankrupt. David Martinez, a 45-year-old sales manager from Texas, found himself drowning in debt after losing his job in a tech company downsizing. Like many Americans, he didn't realize the common financial pitfalls lurking beneath the surface until it was too late. Studies by the U.S. bankruptcy courts show that medical expenses top the list as the leading cause of bankruptcy, affecting nearly 66% of filers. But beyond health issues, other major factors include job loss, poorly managed debt, and lack of emergency savings. David's story encapsulates this. After losing his steady paycheck, he relied on credit cards and personal loans to cover daily expenses, quickly falling into a cycle of high interest and late fees. This is a reality echoed by millions. Nearly 40% of Americans report carrying credit card debt from month to month, according to a 2024 report by the Federal Reserve. In addition, financial literacy remains a critical gap. Many families underestimate the importance of budgeting, saving, and understanding credit terms. This knowledge gap can cause even well-earning households to make decisions that jeopardize their financial future. For David, this meant ignoring early warning signs and missing opportunities to negotiate better terms or seek professional advice. However, experts stress that recognizing these causes is the first step toward prevention. Organizations like the National Foundation for Credit Counseling offer free or low-cost services to help families regain control. Creating a realistic budget, prioritizing high-interest debt, and building emergency funds are proven methods to avoid the downward spiral. David eventually embraced these tools, enrolling in a financial education program that changed his perspective and set him on a path to recovery. His story underscores a vital lesson: understanding the root causes of financial failure empowers individuals to take proactive steps. By learning from real-life cases and expert advice, anyone can build resilience and protect themselves against sudden economic shocks. Financial education can be the difference between falling into debt and rising out of it. Sarah Lee, a 29-year-old teacher from Florida, learned this the hard way. Despite a steady income, Sarah found herself struggling with mounting credit card bills and student loans that seemed impossible to manage. Without proper financial literacy, she fell prey to common pitfalls: minimum payments that barely touched the principal, overlooked fees, and impulsive spending during stressful times. Recent studies reveal that only about 39% of Americans demonstrate basic financial literacy skills, according to a 2023 report by the FINRA Investor Education Foundation. This gap leaves many vulnerable to predatory lending and poor investment choices. Sarah's turning point came when she attended a local workshop on budgeting and credit management. She realized that understanding how interest compounds, how to track expenses, and how to set realistic financial goals could completely change her outlook. The power of financial education lies not just in knowledge but in behavior change. By adopting habits such as monthly budget reviews, automated savings, and avoiding unnecessary debt, individuals gain control over their finances. Sarah began using budgeting apps, cut back on discretionary spending, and prioritized paying off her highest interest debt first. Gradually, her credit score improved, and the stress that had weighed heavily on her began to lift. Education also helps people anticipate life's unexpected challenges. Knowing how to build an emergency fund, plan for healthcare costs, and diversify income sources can buffer against sudden shocks. Sarah's story shows that even those with limited resources can shift their financial trajectory by learning and applying effective money management techniques. Ultimately, financial education is a powerful tool to prevent crises before they start. Sarah's journey from confusion to confidence is a testament to how knowledge, combined with disciplined action, can rebuild financial security and restore peace of mind. Jason Thompson never imagined losing his job would become the catalyst for a complete transformation of his financial life. At 34, living in a modest Michigan suburb with his wife and 2 young children, Jason had always believed a steady paycheck was the cornerstone of stability. When his warehouse employer announced a sudden restructuring that resulted in layoffs, Jason was thrust into uncertainty overnight. The initial shock soon gave way to mounting anxiety as bills piled up and unemployment benefits barely covered essentials. Faced with this daunting reality, Jason realized that relying solely on his job search was not enough. Inspired by stories of resilience and determination, he decided to take matters into his own hands. Starting with delivering groceries through a popular app, Jason embraced the gig economy. It wasn't glamorous work, but it brought in crucial cash flow. Soon, neighbors who knew of his reliability asked him for small handyman jobs, fixing fences, painting rooms, and assembling furniture. Each job not only bolstered his income but also helped rebuild his confidence during this difficult period. Jason's experience is far from unique. A 2024 study by Pew Research Center found that nearly 45% of Americans now engage in some form of side hustle or gig work to supplement their income. This shift reflects a broader economic reality. Traditional full-time employment is no longer the sole or even primary financial safety net for many families. Side gigs offer flexibility, diversity of income, and a way to mitigate the devastating effects of job loss. But Jason's story also underscores a crucial truth: earning extra money alone isn't a panacea. Without sound financial planning, even supplemental income can be swallowed by debts or poor spending habits. Understanding this, Jason took a further step by educating himself on the basics of investing and wealth building. He started cautiously, contributing to his employer-sponsored retirement plan whenever possible, and investing small amounts in low-risk mutual funds. This gradual approach is supported by data from the Investment Company Institute. Americans who diversify their investments are 30% more likely to achieve sustained financial security and withstand economic shocks. Jason's newfound knowledge gave him a sense of control and hope, replacing the fear that had dominated his thoughts. The combination of active income generation through side hustles and passive wealth building through investments created a balanced, resilient financial strategy. Jason learned to budget carefully, avoid unnecessary expenses, and set realistic goals for his family's future. This holistic approach allowed him to navigate the crisis without succumbing to desperation or defeat. Jason's story is a powerful example of how adversity can spark growth. His journey from a precarious layoff to a position of financial empowerment illustrates that even in the darkest moments, strategic action, education, and perseverance can transform setbacks into opportunities. It's a message of hope for anyone facing economic hardship. With determination and the right tools, rebuilding your financial foundation is possible. After weathering the storm of job loss, debt, and uncertainty, the most daunting challenge for many is building a sustainable financial future that can withstand new crises. Linda Carter, a 52-year-old single mother from Ohio, knew this all too well. Years of financial strain had left her with little savings and a history of credit troubles. But after a particularly difficult period marked by layoffs and medical bills, Linda made a conscious decision to rebuild not just her bank account, but her entire approach to money and security. Linda's story mirrors that of millions of Americans who face the constant threat of economic shocks. According to a 2024 Federal Reserve survey, nearly 60% of adults in the U.S. report that they do not have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency expense. This lack of financial cushion creates a domino effect where a single unexpected event, be it job loss, illness, or home repair, can spiral into a full-blown crisis. For Linda, this reality became painfully clear when her car broke down just weeks after losing her job. Without a reliable vehicle, she struggled to find temporary work, and bills quickly piled up. Determined to break this cycle, Linda turned to comprehensive financial planning, focusing on sustainable habits rather than quick fixes. She started by creating a realistic budget that prioritized essentials while gradually increasing her emergency fund. Research shows that building an emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months of living expenses is critical for financial resilience. Linda also sought professional advice to manage her debts, negotiating with creditors for better repayment terms and consolidating loans where possible. Another key aspect of Linda's strategy was focusing on long-term income stability. She enrolled in community college courses to upskill, aiming for a career change that promised better security and benefits. Simultaneously, she explored passive income opportunities, such as dividend-paying stocks and rental property investments, to diversify her financial portfolio. Studies indicate that individuals with diversified income streams are less vulnerable to economic downturns, giving them a greater chance to sustain their lifestyle during tough times. Linda's journey exemplifies the power of deliberate, patient financial planning. Rather than seeking quick escapes, she embraced a disciplined approach grounded in education, realistic goal setting, and incremental progress. Her story teaches that building a future-proof financial life is not about luck, it's about strategy, resilience, and the willingness to adapt. For anyone struggling today, Linda's experience offers a blueprint. Protect yourself with savings, invest in your skills, diversify your income, and never lose sight of your long-term goals. As Linda Carter's story illustrates, sustaining financial security requires constant vigilance and adaptability. The final step in building a robust financial future is maintaining the practices that safeguard against unexpected downturns and creating a mindset focused on long-term growth. This is where many stumble, falling back into old habits or underestimating new risks can quickly undo progress. Take Mark Reynolds, a 45-year-old software engineer from California, who learned this lesson the hard way. After years of steady income and careful savings, Mark felt confident he had built a solid foundation. However, when the 2023 tech sector downturn hit, his investments took a sharp hit, and unexpected home repairs drained his emergency fund. This double blow forced Mark to rethink his financial strategies completely. Research from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that 40% of Americans face at least one major financial setback every 5 years, ranging from job loss to medical emergencies. The key to resilience is not only having savings but also regularly reviewing and adjusting financial plans to align with changing circumstances. Mark began setting quarterly financial reviews, reassessing his investment portfolio, updating budgets, and seeking new learning opportunities to keep his financial knowledge current. Mark also embraced the power of community and professional advice. Joining local financial groups and consulting with certified financial planners helped him stay accountable and informed. This network provided support during challenging times and introduced him to new ideas like sustainable investing and tax-efficient saving strategies. Ultimately, Mark's story highlights that financial security is a continuous journey, not a destination. It demands ongoing effort, education, and the willingness to adapt. By cultivating resilience through planning, diversification, and community, individuals can not only survive economic downturns but thrive despite them. This final chapter offers a hopeful reminder: financial stability is within reach for those who commit to lifelong learning and proactive management.